back then with another news update video for Marvel's Avengers. This one is really pretty jam-packed, very spoilery, so you have been warned about that in advance. Now, the bulk of the video will focus on a walkthrough of the upcoming raid, because someone messaged me on Twitter. They were lucky enough to actually get access to the entire raid and they actually completed it, so they gave me a breakdown of how all the mechanics work and what bosses or boss you actually fight in it as well. Now, we do have a rough timescale for the release of the raid as well, so we will talk about that. Following on from that, we've got a screenshot of the upcoming Wakandan region that's actually coming to the game alongside Black Panther, and then we've got some speculation based on data mine information in regards to a potential release order of the upcoming heroes. But let's jump in and we'll start off with this raid first. Firstly then, it looks like the latest weekly challenge update from Square Enix is actually spoiled when the raid will be releasing, so it states our big addition this week is the AIM cloning lab. It doesn't come much clearer than that really, to be honest. It also tells you, I'll run through it because some of it is quite relevant to what we'll talk about in a second, but Monica's been hard at work with her new experiment. Take down these twisted specimens from Friday to Monday before they're unleashed upon the world. Team up with the global community to destroy 500,000 clones to unlock a new Black Widow nameplate. So the clone will actually be the boss, or the clones will be the bosses. Now, on the subject of that, let's get in and let's break down how this raid will actually work. So this breakdown was forwarded on to me via Twitter from Paul, so I really do appreciate the fact they actually forwarded it on to me, chose me to send it on to, which is really pretty nice of him. And also I believe in the raid that he was helped out by Elder, so between the two of them they managed to get the raid finished and they managed to choose me to forward the breakdown onto, so I do appreciate that very much. So what I've actually done anyway, I've just copied his DM, so I'm just going to read it out and he gives a really good breakdown of how it will work. So there's roughly 10 encounters throughout, there's only 2 puzzles, the rest are kill elites or defeat all enemies. The first one being the 3 platforms. We've seen that in the previous video, that's a news video I've done covering it, so jump back to that if you want to see what it will look like. But it's 3 platforms you have to capture, and then you have to stand on all 3 buttons at the same time. When you tread on the buttons it causes electricity to fry the platforms. You only get 7 attempts to try it. Not sure what happens if you fail all 7, if you manage to do it with 2 attempts remaining. And there's 1 elite battle on a bridge shortly after this that had 3 assault adaptoids and 2 adept adaptoids. This was not fun. Imagine it probably will be fun, but it's probably going to be quite difficult. And then you take a lift down, which takes you to an AIM base underwater. I believe we've actually seen that in one of the iconic missions. It's either Black Widow's or Captain America's. But he says there's windows throughout for you to see outside, but nothing exciting out there. The next section here, it starts, the final room is a cloning lab and you see Abomination, so we are fighting another same boss that's in the game already, unfortunately, which is a bit disappointing. Well, it's a bit disappointing, it's hugely disappointing, but it is what it is. Hopefully we'll get the Wakandan region and the rumoured claw boss, but you'll see Abomination in a cloning tube and it has you destroy 4 cores. We've done that before in missions. You pull out and destroy. However, these are surrounded by electricity similar to the earlier platforms. There are 4 buttons on the floor, with standing on one will turn off the power to one of the electrics surrounding the core. This is hard on its sounds as you get knocked back a lot, which then makes the electric come back on and will instantly kill anyone trying to pull out the core or trying to destroy it. So that sounds a decent enough mechanic. So your characters like Black Widow that can go invisible will be great for standing on the switch, and I'm pretty certain with Hulkbuster I don't think he gets staggered, so he could stand on it as well. Unfortunately Miss Marvel, when she goes in big and she does get staggered, but interesting enough mechanic there. There's a time limit to do this. Unfortunately, you only noticed with 7 minutes remaining, so not sure how long you actually get to do it. But he mentions that when the time got down to 5 minutes, they'd taken 3 out of 4 and then it jumped on to the boss battle. At this point, 3 Abomination clones jumped out to fight them. They have all the same abilities from the villain sector fights, don't seem to have as much health. One of our team went down and one of the clones instantly started charging up a heavy attack and when finished knocked out or down friends. You've seen that when you're actually doing the normal boss fight, when he downs one of the AI if you're playing with them, for example, or even one of your teammates. I normally just play solo, to be honest, but when he downs them he does a pretty powerful but really slow charged attack. One thing I found that really helps with this actually is if you use cryo on him, it slows him down and it takes much longer for him to do that attack, so it gives you more time to actually revive your teammates. That's just a little tip there. He also mentions there's no timer for this part, and the three of them manage to take out the three abominations. Guessing that the power cores determine how many clones you get, but there appears to be 4 tubes at the start, so I think maybe if you don't get any of them, you could be fighting 4 abominations. The developers have said how well you do in the raid will determine how powerful the final boss actually is, so if you take out all of them, I wonder if maybe you only fight 1 abomination there. But it also states not much else to it, but there are DNA chests in it, and the standard chests were spawning as well, but the rewards most likely won't be tuned yet, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. That was a complete breakdown that he gave, so I actually was asking about how hard it actually was. So he came back with this. We did it on challenge 2, I believe it has to be a minimum of challenge 2, I don't think you can go down to easy on this. Reloaded a checkpoint a couple of times on the platforms, there's way too many ads at that point. No wipes because of the reloading, and then a funny face there. The defeat enemies and elites was same as normal except the adaptoids. The challenges are probably a 7 for the platforms and 8 or 9 for the boss room, mainly due to getting knocked back when on the buttons, as that electric shock would insta-kill the 2 in there, and I had to parry, it should even say, the damage's Hulk to revive them, which was close to killing me at times. So again, you're going to have to think about what characters you can use that potentially wouldn't be knocked off the switches. That is going to be really important, and you're going to need communication there. Finishing up then, he's made a very snazzy little screenshot here as well, and this gives us an idea of how that final room actually looks. So you can see the buttons the characters need to stand on, and then you've got your destroyable reactor as well and your electrified zone, so that should give you a good idea of how that actually plays out. So once again, a heap of thanks to him for actually sending all this information on to me. It's great to get an idea of how the raid will actually play before it comes out. But let's just move on to this Wakandan screenshot we have now. So this came from a user called Miller on Twitter. I will link his actual Twitter account in the comments below. But this is a screenshot. I think it maybe came from one of the war tables and people missed it potentially. But this is your Wakandan region, and you can see the mining region in the background as well. And what we've actually seen via data mine, it looks like the mining region will be where a raid could potentially be set against Claw as well. Now let's move on to the hero release schedule just to finish up here. Miller then looks to do a fair amount of data mining, and he was saying that with the way the data mine information is laid out in the most up-to-date version in the game, this very much looks like this could be the release order for characters. So Kate Bishop and Clint Barton, of course we know that's the way it's going to be. Black Panther next, which would be great, and I think the game really does need that. It needs a big name coming in, and it needs a big expansion to get people excited for it again. After that we've got War Machine, She-Hulk and Winter Soldier. Good characters but not massive names. They would be followed up with Captain Marvel, so if this is the order they will be. I do quite like that, the way they put in names that maybe aren't as big, and then every so often we have a real big hitter to get the people that maybe aren't playing the game as much, or people that may be on the fence about the game really interested in it, and that is your names like Black Panther and Captain Marvel. So that is interesting, and again it is based on speculation, but just about everything we've seen via data mine so far has been completely spot on. So I did mention earlier on in the video then I was looking for some help from you all as well. Now this is in regards to the change they've made to the legendary sets that drop in the game. These drop from your elite content, so that could be your bosses or your hives or your vaults. Now it looks like they've removed the perks that they can have on them from 3 to 2. I'm trying to find out for certain if it's always 2 or if in some instances they actually still can drop 3 perks, because I'm trying to do infographics on them at the moment and this really kind of messes me up a bit. So if you're running them at the moment and you manage to get a legendary set piece that does have 3 perks, please do let me know in the comments below. It would be great to actually know if that's 100% ruled out or if there is still a very small chance there. That's everything we covered. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the raid. I like the sound of the mechanics. I know a lot of people are probably going to be disappointed that it is Abomination again, and to be honest, that is fair enough. It is actually pretty disappointing. But do let me know in the comments below, and thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.